Chiron begins his annual retrograde journey on July 30th at 27 degrees of Aries. Chiron is going to travel back to 22 degrees of Aries in your chart until January 2nd, 2026. So the remaining months of 2025 brings us this Chiron retrograde in Aries. And I think this is a really interesting time to look at what Chiron has been guiding you through since first entering Aries back in 2018. Chiron has a very interesting orbit. It's an irregular orbit where Chiron spends more time in Pisces and Aries, giving us more opportunities to work with these areas of our charts, bringing our attention to more of the themes that are ready for us to heal in both Pisces and Aries. This also means that on the other side of the astrological wheel, Chiron spends the least amount of time in Virgo and Libra. So here we have an extended journey through the full 30 degrees of Aries. And Chiron stations retrograde at 27 degrees, nearly the end of Aries. 27 degrees of Aries also trines the Galactic Center at 27 degrees of Sagittarius. And I feel that what is occurring here, as Chiron moves through these final degrees of Aries, and in fact, the last decan, the third decan of Aries, we're understanding more of what we're capable of in this lifetime, especially as it relates to alternative options and pathways. And also, what I've observed and what I'm offering is that Chiron helps us to look at our own patterns and habits so that we can rework them with the higher frequencies and higher dimensions. And I feel that Chiron is a multidimensional healing guide where we come into contact with our star seed gifts and abilities that flourish and exist effortlessly in other realms and other dimensions. But we have time where we have difficulty fully integrating into our human experience. I believe that Chiron is this awakening energy into what we can do differently, how we can excel, how we can see ourselves beyond what we initially thought we were or what we would be good at, especially in Aries. Chiron is offering you more insight into your true starseed multidimensional nature that also had to be perhaps covered up or cloaked or hidden to some extent in order to adapt and be fully present as a human. So I hope this is making sense, because how I'm seeing this Chiron journey, especially right now, during these very big pivotal years on planet Earth, is that Chiron is reminding you more of who you really are beyond this dimension. And that alone is vulnerable and uncomfortable. Chiron brings us into our discomforts and our insecurities. Chiron introduces us to parts of ourselves that we didn't initially want to meet or understand. But I feel that every Chiron station retrograde and eventual station direct brings up a louder message around what you're ready to honestly heal for yourself. Because Aries is about honesty. It's about being very real with yourself in this is who I am and this is who I'm not. This is what is important to me, that defines me, that supports me, that is connected to, and it's like an authentic frequency that you have to eventually welcome and allow to be seen and expressed. But Chiron wants us to see that the remedies we need for this human journey can be unexpected, can be beyond, what we first initially saw. And the Chiron energy is meant to take you away from the status quo. It's almost like you're meant to feel like an orphan, or that you're different, the outcast, the black sheep, the one who doesn't know where to go. You're meant to honor that as part of the Chiron initiation into more of who you are at an energetic level, and then to bring that back into this experience with greater confidence and self-acceptance. So the Chiron dance, it pulls us off planet. It takes us into other energies and messages that we wouldn't at first seek out or even welcome. It shows us those alternative gateways and alternative pathways. It also can reconnect us to more of our energetic, it's like an imprint. But it's fuller than that. It's more of our energetic fullness that we had to leave behind until we were ready to call it back in and claim it. And I think these Chiron transits brings up a lack, brings up what is missing, where you might feel that void, a sense of, what do I do with this? What do I call in to heal this and remedy this? And it's almost like it has to get our attention at a deeper level in order to be willing to make a change or be willing to call it in. And so I feel like this Saturn journey through Aries is reconstructing our self-identities to understand that we have many gifts, talents, abilities, healing potentials. And yet we have to come into some type of experience of needing it to access it and pull it in. And even though the Chiron energy, it shows up first through the wounding of some kind, which can be the crisis point, the trauma, the abuse, the really difficult experiences of the human journey, there's always the Chiron promise, which is that there is a solution for this. There is a way forward, and there is something that you're going to discover along the way if you're able to work with this initiation and understand what you're healing at a much deeper level of your being. The Chiron themes can travel with us through lifetimes as we heal it throughout various experiences and various roles as well. But it feels like this particular Chiron stationing retrograde at 27 degrees of Aries, trining the Galactic Center in Sagittarius, is a cosmic Chiron. And therefore is bringing in new, it's like new understandings, but new ways to get to the heart of what you're ready to change, especially in a belief system that perhaps you've been traveling with, whether that is in this lifetime or multiple lifetimes. It's getting to the core of a belief system that has deeply impacted you and asking you to look at, is this expansive enough for you? Does this serve the fullness of your multidimensional nature and frequency? Does this remind you that you are a soul and that you have many capabilities, many solutions, many ways of being in this reality without losing the connection to your expansive, authentic self? Because what I'm feeling too is that in a day, in a week, we have to navigate through various environments that can feel very dense or very 3D, very limited in scope. And I feel that this particular Chiron, again, towards the end of Aries, has been giving you opportunity since 2018 to understand more of your authentic true self and to be honest with yourself about what that is for you, to not compromise it, to not hold yourself back, especially with what you're realizing you're good at or with your own alignment with certain energies. Chiron is saying, remember, you are also all of this. And even if all of this doesn't fit into some dense environments or 3D relationships or experiences, I'm hearing don't fragment. Don't fragment your energy. Don't disperse it or think that you have to cut off a part of yourself in order to survive in these energies. Travel with more of the full ownership of what you're good at, of who you are, and continue to pull that in and integrate it. Because I'm also seeing these puzzle pieces coming together, and that they are recreating us. It looks like this recreation of the aura of the self, even if at times there were things that were injured, damaged, painful. I feel that this whole time Chiron's been doing this cosmic dance in bringing us new solutions and understandings of what we can do in this lifetime, in this cycle of energy that's newly available to us. And so that's why this cosmic Chiron has also been requiring us to do more personal self-inquiry, which is also an Aries theme, where there's things you have to figure out on your own. You have to get clear on your own terms. You have to be strong in that sense of self, of this is who I am, this is what matters to me. And there's always a test with Chiron. It's like, am I strong enough? Am I independent enough? Am I courageous enough? Can I do this on my own? And of course, the Chiron message is yes, you can do this on your own, but what do we need to reconstruct and reconfigure for you at a core energy level so that you can hold and honestly integrate more of who you are, especially related to these off-planet frequencies. I've been doing a lot of personal focus on Chiron because I just see him as this star seed guide, a cosmic messenger, that cosmic medicine man, the original shaman, the original astrologer, philosopher, working from his cave in Greece, and how he was the one that people sought out for the remedies and solutions to what they were going through. And Chiron had the full knowledge of how to heal, of whether that was an herb or whether that was a particular healing practice. And so the Chiron energy, I feel, has always been advanced. And so Chiron is about advancing humanity, advancing each of us into more of what we wouldn't normally seek out. And so we know Chiron as the wounded healer, and we know that Chiron bestows upon us great gifts and abilities that we learn to trust in ourselves. But I feel because Chiron has been in Aries since 2018 and is introducing us to more of our own cosmic wisdom, that you're meant to move forward in your own understanding of what you're capable of, And that's why it's bringing in these cosmic off-planet energies that always feel weird at first. You know, like, for example, if you've ever done any kind of remote healing work, or any kind of healing modality that at first is different or weird because you've never done it before, right? It takes you to the edges of your understanding. That's what Chiron's about. Chiron takes us into more of our own understandings that can be uncomfortable and odd and weird. And I feel like that's part of how his archetypal understanding is elevating us right now. And when I see these retrogrades come through, and for example, making this trine to the Galactic Center, that's significant in what we are downloading and understanding. It's also giving us more tools and wisdom to work with so that we can reconfigure our limiting belief systems and make sure that what we're holding personally is, again, expansive enough for our own ascension. So I feel this Chiron retrograde is important. And for you personally, you would look at where it's occurring for you between 27 to 22 degrees of Aries in your chart. That is the house that this Chiron in Aries is bringing in more for you to understand about who you are, what you're healing, perhaps across multiple timelines, as well as the new potentials that are coming through for you based on your own desire to grow and connect with more of your cosmic wisdom. So hope this resonates. Hope this helps connect some dots for you about anything that you've been exploring or dancing with. And of course, I hope too that this particular Chiron retrograde journey gives you some really inspiring new pathways to follow.